solo leveling, Jin Woo resurrects S-rank healer Byung-gu as one of his shadow soldiers, causing Dong-wook and Choi Jong-in to stand back in shock. Byung-gu's shadow moves to Cha and effortlessly heals her. Jin explains to Bayek that he can instantly tell what kind of person Byung-gu was, as he didn't give the shadow any orders, but it's already healing Hunter Cha on its own. He's a very kind and warm person, Jin comments. Bayek, clenching his fist, replies, he is, but that is no longer Byung-gu. The cameraman stands flabbergasted, realizing why Jin wanted the camera turned off, thinking, this shouldn't be broadcasted for the world to see. The ultimate soldier realizes that the more intense the battle, the stronger Jin's power grows, adding that it's quite a fearsome power. Bayek, still with his hand on Jin's shoulder, says he's sure Jin will face more battles in the future and will need the S-rank healer's power, but Byung-gu is tired of fighting. He asks if Jin could not send the kind shadow back into battle. Jin thinks for a second before taking the beastly hunter's hand off his shoulder, saying, that's the second time you've touched my shoulder. Acknowledging that it's a request this time, he says, besides, I was thinking the same thing, as he walks to Byung-gu's shadow and cancels extraction. In this moment, the shadow notices Hunter Bayek and smiles at him before disappearing. Outside, a helicopter flies over the island as someone yells, the hunters are coming out! While boarding the helicopter, Jin tells Bayek he's going to stay behind since he still has something to do, and he'll clear the way for them. This is when Jin summons Kaisel and tells Bayek he'll see him later, before taking off and flying right through the ants. On a ship, Minoru reflects on his experience with the monster, certain that the raid was a failure, saying, no one can defeat a monster like that. However, Sugimoto dismisses it and tells him the raid is over. This shocks the shaken hunter as he exclaims, that's impossible, while Sugimoto recalls his conversation with Goto before the raid. Suddenly, they are alerted that the ants are spreading out, and the ships prepare for battle. Back in the cave, Jin's shadow soldiers clean up the ants while the mages burn the eggs. Jin notes that even killing unborn ants adds to his experience. While looking through his inventory, he notices something, and pulls out the Demon King's longsword, deciding to test it out. He gives the unhatched ants some electrotherapy, and realizes it would be a waste to leave it in his inventory, so he decides to take care of the remaining eggs with it. In America, David Brennan, the director of the Bureau of Hunters, watches the footage. Michael Connor, who we learn is the man with him, explains that a hunter controlling hundreds of soldiers is an anomaly and a waste in a small country like South Korea. David agrees, asking if there's any more information. Michael Connor reveals the Sung Il-hwam incident, explaining that Jin's father was found and captured in a dungeon in the northeast United States. He adds that now is a perfect chance, since none of the other countries know about him. David acknowledges the significance of taking two of South Korea's S-rank hunters and its impact on their relationship. Michael asks, isn't he worth it? And after taking a moment, David responds, can you make it happen? Back in the cave, Jin wraps up and finally reaches level 100 as he approaches the dead ant, commenting on its fearsome aura. He says, arise, and in this moment is enveloped in darkness, unable to sense anything and questioning if the extraction worked. Suddenly, he returns to normal, relieved to see he didn't fail. The new shadow soldier, with the rank of general, kneels before Jin.